Here we get started then.
Dumbo Joden de Jabo Rajumbo Yanda Bobe Sanje Riba Shazo Dembor de Warasheba Jide Jiwo Dube Kalo Juba Lana Neba Lada Mena Je Dumbo Sanje Jon Pejawa Shaja Tuba La Chate Lo Chodo Jazo Je Dumbo Joden de Jabo Rajum Yanda bo zobe zanje reba da yazu demba te warash jide jemba jiwu du palo juba lana meba hada mena je tumba sanje ton peye wa shaja la chaze jadu jazu je wo tumba jonde de shin je rajumbo yanda bo zobe sanje Debo da shazu debo dewarashe Dede jemba jewu duwe kalu jub Lana meba lhada mena je tumba sanje jonde Shaja tuba la chaze lo chudu jat Che wo kanze kani zowu chudande Saje de la gomba dumune Mane jide de la choje so de ze jebo chola chaza. Nanda bowa chodo zozawa. Ishe jazo zeje lumoja. Taba jide sona lamewa. Kobo chunye chola chaza. Enjo demba jime daveja. Sendo jawa chola chaza. Jide Sunanda Nyame Jinjin Chola Chaza Gombo Duje Jedeba Kamje Chembe Tumba Sona Yende Jago Je Deshin Shela Chaza Abe Duja Jewa Juru Gewe Nyezu Ledo Jedu Dunda Chujuba Shiyu Chola Chaza Rone drove maya de la ba da la ba do ne. Shinje da ba ye de gingu la ya cha ze. Ba jin ya me ja xie jie wa pu shun so ba. Da ge se ne yong zu de de ne san jie tian ba. Ama ra ve ma me na yu ma se wa shu da. Mela loda jenda bu tuje shana de da sana de tanje seva ye goba tole kyenge rada na da chive na chole chive chole brova sho.
To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, in knowledge and in good conduct, so that the world, human beings should attain. The glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti flame, and prostrate often. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom motion like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the vast Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, one credit the superior reality to that Dharma which pacifies thy prosperity. Those who are liberated and who also show the path of liberation. The holy feel qualified with realization, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prosper. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. To subdue your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star of mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all saints, subdue the flow of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba Kunjo Sola Chalo, Degeda, Kopa Tujina, Chulende, Gyoga, Chago Humor, Longi, Gindu Chemboda, Tajo Sembe, Gindu Chemboda, Tara Chido Chute, Zamo Nawa Shijawe, Chigi, Nagagi, Tengen, Zela, Nyombar, Shuso, Janjo Samba Samba Jimbo Baba Jerezi Wanchu Sheraji Karo to Jimba Saba Jibo Nila Number Tashi Kumbo Novo de Layan Rasinje Tombar Number Tau Ene Sangi Tu Sedan Jimbo Shari Janjo Samba Samba Jimbo Baba Jerezi Wanchu La Tige Jemeso Riji Pu Kala Sheraki Paru Jimba Samo Jeba Jeba Duba Jidala Barja Dege Meba Chanju Samba Samba Jimbo Baba Chiris Wanju Ki Sedan Deba Jari Dadi Bola Dege Jemeso Shari Riji Pon Riji Pomo Kandala Sheraji Paru De Jimba Samu Jeba Jeba Duba Didar Nambar Tawar Chade Kumbo Ngabo De Dalaya Ranshinji Tombar Nambar Yanda Jesu Tao Su Tombao Tomba Ni Susu Bule Tomba Ni Shemayin Tomba Ni Le Yang Su Shemayin Ejin Du Chorwa Dan Dushi Dan Dushi Dan Nambar Sheba Na Tomba Wu Shari Bu Teta Chu Tamche Tomba Ni Su Senye Meba Mageba Magaba Jima Meba Jima Dan Jawa Jiwa Meba Kawa Meba Wu Shari Bu Teta Wena Tomba Ni La Su Me Chorwa Me Dushi Me Dushi Nambar Sheba Me Mime Nawa Me Name Jime Lume Yime Zume Jame Shime Rome Rejame Jome Yige Kame Bane Yige Kame Yige Nambar Shebe Kamje Padu Yame Do Mariba Me Mariba Seba Me Gaji Sebe Padu Yame Do Ejen Do Dunga Wadam Kunju Wadam Kobadan Lame Shime Toba Me Toba Yame Do Sharibu Deda Wena Janju Semba Nam Toba Mebi Chir Sherabji Parudu Chimba Lateji Nede Semla Jiba Meji Trapa Mede Chinji Lole Shindu Dene Yangele Debe Tar Chindu Tuzundu Nambara Shume Sange Tamse Kyang Sheraji Parudu Chimba Latene Lana Meba Yanda Bar Zobe Chanju Umbara Zoba San Yesu Deda Wena Sheraji Parudu Chimbenga Riba Chimbenga Lana Mebenga Minyamba Danyambenga Donge Tangje Radu Shivara Chibenga Midu Wena Demba Shibar Jati Shiragi Parudu Chimbenga Meba Daya Ha Gade Gade Para Sangade Buddhi So Sharibu Janju Samba Samba Chimbu Teta Shiraji Parudu Chimbo Samola Labar Chao Tene Chonde De Tengi De Dele Shende Janju Samba Samba Chimbu Baba Chirize Wanchu Lexo Shejawa Chene Lexo Lexo Riki Bu Tete Shindu Tete Shinde Chidara Juji Temba Shindu Shiragi Parudu Chimbo Samola Chebar Jati Teje Shaba Namkya Jesu Yerango Chomden Dege Dege Je Ka Sene Sedan Demba Share Dade Buddha Janjo Semba Semba Chembo Baba Jenese, Wanchu, Tamse, Dembe, Kor, Deda, Lada, Amayan, Jisa, Jibe, Jide, Yirante, Chomde, Deje, Fumbala, Mumba,
Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on vultures' feet, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena of profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom Gandhyan, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to the wisdom Gandhyan? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should practice it like this, using the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra and are empty without characteristic. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither pure nor free from impurity. They never decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling. There is no karmic formation, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes, no spheres of the mind. And no ease to sphere of mental consciousness. There is the destruction of old age and death. No cause of suffering, reason of suffering, and no path. Because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold of the wisdom gone beyond, and because there is no purity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. Those in the free time, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, the truth, there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. O Shariputra, this is our Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should learn the profound beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that contemplation and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world of gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praise the words of the Blessed One. So in the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
Treatise, the Lord sent the Lamrim, Lamrim, Chenmo. That Changchuk Lamjer, Changchuk, the Changs, some other language, same number, Yenda. And it that Rang is semi, Yun Tamje Pajama, Changs. And it's semi, in daytime, Rang to Lama de la Chulas. Or just that Changchuk said, Tambo, take the shaded in this generation. Okay. It is Sunday now, and we resume the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, in introduction to the Buddha Dharma. That's this then. And in this great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, great treatise on stages of the path to enlightenment, this enlightenment is
the enlightenment of all faults and imperfections found in the mind being thoroughly eliminated, and in their place all excellent qualities being adopted. And this then is what is meant by bodhi awakening.
오야 창조 스타트 내게 창조의 고방 스타 고방스도 고 톱제진 삼로탄 아니 고다 톱고 이어봐다 고 톱이야 임바 오야 톱주 이어봐 어디게 됐다 대시 영향이 된다라 아니 남지를 봐 생각이 연구야 그래서
Such it is then bodhi awakening, enlightenment, the resultant state that is necessary. It does exist. And the explanation for undertaking the way to that resultant state is found in the very text, the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment.
오야 다 근데 이제만 다들 남지를 봐 셔야 된다라다 하고 창조 생에 톱나 톱이나 안 톱제 타두 톱아 톱제 타두 톱아를 다디 톱발라 뭐 아, 일단.
청자.
세상 다 톱제 타도 창조 생세. 다디 톱을 제발라. 톱제 타도 통이 되라 아니 룰람바. 다시 남기 차 명이다나. 룰람제. 톱니 이제 강사에서는 명이다나. 산제 파바. 산제 어디 제부터베 강사 명은 산제 파바. 야 톱제기 창조 고방기 명라 창조 산제기 고방 창조 소명다 그래서
So in these thing get dropped in the tea. Then in the stages of the path to enlightenment, that resultant state, when it is achieved, is awakening itself. But first, in order to begin progress to that awakened resultant state, one progresses along a path, and that path is the unerring path. Those who pass along it and reach its resultant state are the Arya Bodhisattvas, the Aryas, the Arya Sangha. The state that is the resultant state is Bodhi awakening.
야, 다 이제 그 톱제 타둘러 럽니기 아니 다야 톱제 타둘러 고반 톱을 되니기 아니 남러 럽니들 아니 뭐 시제 다때 어도 뭐 시어레스 뭐 시도 좀봐 아도 뭐 시디 때 럽니 그 뭐 시대라 다진 것도 싫어니 뭐 저도 좀봐 가데 시제 가데 스니제 파라가데 파라상가데서 어디 뭐 시디 산지 고반 톱을 럽니기
To the achievement of the ultimate resultant state undertaken by those with the desire to achieve that state, there are 4 stages along the way. These are the stages undertaken by those in training. Just as in the Prajna Paramita Hridaya, the Heart Sutra, we recite Om Gate, there's the first stage. Gate, there's the second stage. Paragate, there's the third stage. Parasamgate, there's the 4th stage. These 4 stages are the stages undertaken by those bodhisattvas.
Oh, yeah. Dishi lam dishi lam shidi gula yunye zola chanju sembase. Medi suina semje suina di lam shidi su gula yubaina medi call chanju sembase sanje se segre chanju sembase gre. Koyu lam de la chanju sem teaching semje oh the ming lam di ming de ta reso.
these four stages of the path in the continuum of a person make such a person the Bodhisattva person, the heir to the Buddha, in the individual whatsoever, with these paths in the mind, is known as heir to the Buddha, or in the same, a Bodhisattva. They have in their minds the Mahayana mind of awakening, Bodhicitta.
다 딜러야. 지난 장갑 망고 잡초고 돼 있는 장갑 다들 시제도 시샤고야디 아니다. 도섬 지당 관계 남로 롭당 차네 아니 시고요 레송로스.
Now, this could be counted out in any number of ways, but here we count out four stages in the path primarily, for these are the stages involved in study and contemplation, involved in training in the mind of awakening.
다시 남기 롭당 차네 시 칸데스에서나 방법 랑기 투중기 시라고 유도신의 롭용도 롭야가 두되들라 아니 가데에서 뭐다 가데 뭐들 들라 소금서 소금 손은 소사다니 또 뭐줄래 깨워 지고 요처럼 소금 남들 소금서 그래 나다는 살 시라니 오라지바나 가데에서 들어와 바로도 송시 이사들 오다 들에서
In path practice, involved in study and contemplation, which gives rise to the wisdom of study and contemplation. This path practice, these trainings are gate, the gate that is the first stage, the path of accumulation, the accumulation of autonomy and merit of a person so that they might develop realization. So then the path of accumulation, go beyond.
세상다 처럼이 가서라 표준구 시라비 동반이 도고요. 그래서 동반이 표준구 시라비 권에 동반이가 되는 로버 제발. 아니 동반이 되는 로 줄래 제발 지기 요바인다. 콜라 가데스 람 찍샤레 소나시.
The wisdom arising from study is the wisdom of familiarity with the presentation of shunyata. Shunyata that must be comprehended, and in its early development in the early development of this comprehension through study and the wisdom that arises through study, the meaning of the first gate.
다 디네 퇴베 이 제마주가 전에 양다 곰네 아니 셈비 딱 그게 똑바에서가 돈이 똑바디 셈기 돈에 아니 동반이 되는 러버체 아니 동반이 되는데 셈기 돈에 똑바체 봐 인상 아니 콜라 가데스 니버체 디고스 뭐다 저르웨 람스는 돈이 또야라 돈이 무슨도 또야라 트릭체 내가 비 람로 인자 콜라 저르웨 람스 민다 해서
The understanding of emptiness derived from study, when reflected upon again and again and examined and meditated upon, prepares the way for direct insight into emptiness. That direct insight into emptiness that would occur in the mind occurs by virtue of preparation for it. The preparation that is the examination of the meaning understood through study. That preparation period and process is the path of preparation.
제가 가디니바 가둘라 아니 삼중 투중글로 또 사는 삼중글로 동반이 된 또버래 그 강사들 조람바스가 강사들입니다 미네다 좀 사이네다 가리나 콜라 조람바스가 그 람들라 조람스 어디래 가서 거기 삼베톤에 동반이 또버레스 어디서
This then the meaning of the second gate, when the understanding that arises from listening, from study, is comprehended fully, this wisdom of comprehension that follows from reflection makes of a person the person who has won that state of path of preparation. They are a prepared person, whether they are a heavenly being or a human being.
다 되네. 최중다 삼중의 권에 동반이기 되는 또 차네. 다 단독고를 가르친다. 곰중글로도 보는 곰네. 다 가르치 그래서 다 밖에 동이 무슨도 또 밖에 동반이기 되는 무슨도 배나도 미기 잘라 통하나 무슨도 동반이기 된다 또 소나 아니 가르쳐줘 람디 통람 차와라 통에 람제 이거 세련이 보나라 빠라가데세 제가 빠라가데세 다 동반이기 되는 무슨도 당고 통하다 람이자 통람스라고 해서
Up to this point, then, this individual has the wisdom of listening and the wisdom of contemplation. They repeatedly meditate upon this understanding of theirs, and through repeated meditations, achieve direct insight to emptiness. They see it as though it were an object, as directly apparent to them as an object. This is the path of seeing that they achieve. It is meant in the syllable paragate. It is the direct, penetrative insight to emptiness. It is the first event of that.
다 동반이기 되는 무슨도 통하이자 동반이기 되는 무슨도 통하래. 다 뒤에 콜을 가르나 장생 팍바스라고 그래서 장생 팍바스. 그 장생 팍바라고 가르는다. 그거 뒤에 동해지 라인 동해 용 먹고 와 동해 깨 윤제 봐. 근데 그 지대를 대봐. 지대 코어디나 대교 뭐 코어디를 털두고 제가 그 지대를 대봐. 장생 파봐. 동인 모습도 또 봐. 어디서 사탕부 터봐. 이제 되게 터고요. 그래서
This person has directly penetrated emptiness, seen emptiness directly. They become then the Arya Bodhisattva. They are the Arya Bodhisattva because never again must they experience pain. They have passed beyond the world. They have severed the root of rebirth. They are now transmundane. They are called the Arya Bodhisattvas. They are called those who have direct insight to emptiness. They are called those treading the first Bodhisattva Bhumi. Of the three precious and sublime gems, they are the Arya Sangha.
다 되네. 다 상스 거기다 실어진보다 지시가 파라상가데스. 다 파라상가데스에 남들다 남기술 명단은 고람으로 저 곰벨람스 동반이기 되다 이 무슨도 통하대 아니 가도 있네 곰마죠 곰의 양의 동이 무슨도 양의 곰바 제바인다 아니 고람스 명단이 그래서 곰벨람스.
Thus then the path of seeing paragate, followed by the path of meditation parasamgate. Again and again, the direct insight to emptiness is meditated upon. Repeated meditation by the individual who has direct penetrative insight to emptiness characterizes the path of meditation.
딱 고람 토바당 사니바 토바 직제 아니 사니바 토바지 사니바 토바제 아니 고벨람 토바제 다 디네야 아니 콜라지 곧 람디 귤의 유니 강사들라 고람 바스 민다 코이주기 람딜라 고람 민다 그래서
This person treads the second Bodhisattva Bhumi. the second bodhisattva bhumi, that is the path of meditation. They have in their minds the path that is the path of meditation. They are the meditator on the treading the path of meditation.
Oh, yeah, that column, the Latin column, Saju, or Saju column, Ju, but you did your but you resource.
Even within the path of meditation, there are 10 steps, 10 stages in the path of meditation itself.
Oh, yeah. That's in a sat tango top baget, sat tango top will do some, but that Jimbe Parjing in Yamlane, Papa resource, Jimbe Parjing in Yamlane, Chella, Papa resource.
The first bodhisattva bhumi is the bodhisattva bhumi where the perfection of generosity, the extraordinary practice of generosity is practiced.
Oh, yeah. I'm not so good, but on the long journey, but on heading on to Junju now the share. Neka Ganis, Jojo got to shake your chibata, Chibatan to Zambata, Lutan or Longju Tangoras. That tongue clear to city, Satango to the lady or resonance.
We speak of giving in generosity resources and giving in generosity our own bodies. In the Bodhicharya Avatara, the way of the Bodhisattva, we speak of just these, as well as in the 6 preliminary practices. In the moment of practicing generosity, the generosity of giving one's body, the generosity of giving wealth, that moment, that period, is the very period of the first Bodhisattva bhumi.
Oh, yeah, I'm not so chimbag, Lulu, you tongue tweak. Chaching, Tadang Angelo, your marina, young Mazo Tanda, Jamatang tweak, Lodging, I did Tanda Jango, your race. Each of the lunch, Benjamin, Tanda two, but a summer one. Lodging, I did Tanda Jango, your race.
We haven't yet the ability to perform a generous act in the way described here. We don't yet have that ability. That ability is present on the first Bodhisattva bhumi for those there. But in order to make our way there, we prepare that way through study and contemplation.
Oh, this is that you need a such you, such you would dela. And Chanju Sem corn the pair to top Jubian, top Jubian, rebutted Bashi they had said, and it's Tama column. Kisi tamate ane dine mululam tokore mululam toki sama ane sanji ji goban tobare lam lo mogo kanga la kogabde ta sanji ji goban tobare namjin toba ane mululam toba sanji ji goban toba tuzu kanga tanda chigre son.
Along the 10 Bodhisattva bhumis, for the intensification of the mind of awakening, there are exerted the 10 powers along the way, culminating in the moment of transition from the path of meditation to the path of no more training. The path of no more training is synonymous with omniscient Buddhahood. So the individual there is the individual no longer in training. They who have achieved omniscient Buddhahood.
Oh, yeah, down the shadow you would not the Buddhi so ha, such the lever, Sanji Goban, Lomo, Mululam Tobare, so yeah, Lamnache, Lamana, Lam Tama, Sanji, you Lamche, Lam Shidi, Chanju Sembeji, Lam Hotus in the resonance.
And in the mantra from the Prajna Paramita Hridaya Bodhi. Bodhi is omniscient Buddhahood. There is no need for further training. It is the very path of no more training. It is the 5th path, the culmination of the preceding 4 paths. It is the path that is the very continuum of the Buddha, those that precede it, the 4 paths that come before it, the paths of the Bodhisattvas.
Oh, yeah, that Lamana Tangushi. Amboshi the Gade, para Chidilla, that Laviag, Lamdella, to the end of Dubayina, tap the sheriff, tap with Lam, the sheriff of Lam, Nietzsche or Essence.
These then, the 5 axiomatic paths, the first 4 Kate, kate, paragate, parasamgate, as paths may be condensed into two factors, the factor of method and the factor of wisdom, aspect of method, aspect of wisdom.
오이. 세상다 인도 담바당 아주 탑의 셔럽 니 토네. 남고 탑의 차게 남다 셔럽의 차게 남니. 디니기 차 라메랑이 줄에 깨버 전에 당고 퇴배 권의 시험바제 되네 300권의 시험바제 되네 고매권의 시험바제 다마 다르침배권의 시험바제이다 아니 콜레 퇴선 공순 주권인다 도시 냠내 지고 요래 손지.
Then the two aspects of method and wisdom, each with the path then of method, the path of wisdom, that they would arise in our minds, the reason for our study and for our contemplation, and ultimately for our meditation, for discovery or understanding emerges from study and from reflection, and finally from meditation, the consummation of our understanding.
오야, 딱 세상 데레다 타다 싫어 니 여버치었다. 합스디 다만데 단다 남린나는 오주 시대야. 말한도 못한다. 남린다 뒤주고나로 오주 시야게 남게를 봐. 소남 조남 장주고 셈. 장주고 셈 줄에 깨야 지도 닝지 참바 닝지 하삼 어딘데 그 돈에 남이를 봐 시야디 사단 탑이 차게 남는다. 남디기가 탑이 차게 남나 라부여래 손지.
Of these two, the path and stages of method, the path and stages of wisdom, here in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the path described here explicitly is the path of accumulation and preparation for the development of the mind of awakening through compassion and through love. These are the features of the path that are involved in the method aspect. Here it is then the method aspect.
오야, 탑이 차게 결합이 장니 아니 제부 가리 냠슬랑 거랬으나 결합이 이시디 공도 배워져야 돼. 탑이 차게 남들이 적을 해서 결합이 차대 공이야 누가치 뭐 없이 뭐 써야 돼. 탑이 차를 남들 누가치 뭐 써 해서
The effect on the development of wisdom that comes from engaging the path and aspect of method is that through that training in method, one's potential for increased primordial wisdom ever increases. It is to this end of increasing wisdom that one also engages in the method aspect.
오야, 다들 시럽을 차대다 남나게 랑심을 동반이게 돼. 쉬어 탐지스다 또 생기 된게 내로 아무 퇴배고는 시험받지. 다 되네 이제 삼중기 세르단 아니 곰 세르단 삼중기 시럽이 아니 그 되는데 똑같이. 다 똑같이 되는데 아니 양교 공부 탈치니 무슨도 똑같이 해가지고 토론 아니 공부때 하장기 배 유고 사부 배 탈치 뭐 영해지도 고람 디시고네다 동반이게 되는 하게 되는 탈치 뭐 또당 차네 아니 남좀 봐 시시에게로 어디 시라고 차네 아니 남기를 마스게 어레송지
지선데 아니 람가디 아니 디 셰르피차
시라고 차려로 사람 또 타고 퇴중 거 시라고 남로도 잠바 동반이게 되는 로도 잠바 소랑 내가 와 얘네 삼중 거라도 고 대조람체 얘네 검중 거라베들라 고 대, 토람도 고람니로 제가 딜가 람게 라베들라 시라고 찼어.
And the wisdom aspect involved in exposure to shunyata, that shunyata that is principally comprehended upon the basis of the mind, descriptive of all phenomena. This proceeds through the first of the 5 paths, the path of accumulation and the path of preparation, wherein study, through which one first gains exposure to shunyata, is followed by contemplation, through which one clarifies shunyata, and then through meditation and repeated meditation, one penetrates shunyata. It is a progression, the progression of the path of accumulation and preparation. Accumulation involved in the first exposure through study, preparation through the reflection, and then for the swift and deep and complete penetration of emptiness, following direct insight into it on the path of seeing, the path of meditation. Therefore, these paths are involved in the method aspect.
오예, 시럽이 찰라 라발라 때문에 아니 바 방제 방야 가자 가야 가리어스나 라신게 두 번째 쯤바 단지 추이 단지의 강사가 단지디 수매가 소거스나 다 시럽디 다음에 또 동문이 또 시럽디기 단지디기 봐좀 매가 소거래 다 수중 모델라 파비차게 장주고 셈디기 가르치겠으나 만지디 랑진생게 로데 랑진생게 로데 아니 바가자 강이디 아니 타비차 시럽디 가기 어레 소무지
What cessation and abandonment is achieved through the wisdom aspect. The abandonment and cessation of the incorrect assumption of selfhood, the twofold selfhood, the personal self, and the self of phenomena. The elimination of the incorrect assumption to their intrinsic nature is achieved through the wisdom aspect. What is it particularly that eradicates the incorrect assumption of selfhood? The wisdom perceiving emptiness. Now, as for the method aspect, what does the method aspect achieve to cessate? Pathological self-love is eliminated through the method aspect.
어디를 다 된데 다 남지 뛰다디 남지 조당 남지 렘바시아로 스탄가 저게 장야기 거기 유 람 된데지레 스타디기 만한도 람디기디 만한도 그 깨고요 깨가 치돌라 땅 만한도 러보고요 러베가 치돌라 땅 만한도 뭐 퇴배고네 동반이게 퇴바되면 제 마주가 제삼 아니 삼는 곰네 아니 랑이 줄었다 무슨도 또 같이 어디 깨고요 제단 디 치돌라
Okay, then so these are the stages of the path. This is the object, the path itself, and undertaking training in it. In order to do so, we must generate these realizations, and to that end, then we must train in the first place. And the training entails listening in the beginning. That is, study so that an understanding of emptiness may first emerge. And then that understanding must be retained and consolidated. It is retained and consolidated and through reflection. And then it must be penetrated in actual comprehension.
그래서
Mm.
뭐야 나한테 이제 땅 알아서 동반이 되는 러버 제바 저 동반이 되는다 아니 장주고 샘생들 한게 줄라야 깨버 제발라 아니라는 게 줄라다 가르고 그랬으나 이 되게 깨투야 뉴바 가르고서 소남고 소남 쏴야 된다라 땅아서 당고 아니 원조고 냠래 저에 추주 어디 지고고 요래 제라 지시행고 시행발라 당고 퇴고 세상 아주 단다다 저에 추주고 냠래 제야 지도라 아니 저에 추주고 다 저에 냠서 낸다게 원래는 친이 지기 요래 이 나네다 저에 추주 당고가 친사한다 그거 소화되고 유명하다 등에 적었어야 되다 나도 다는 말 그냥 10년보다 10에 더블 해 보지.
We then train in a growing understanding of the meaning of shunyata and the mind of awakening bodhicitta. In order to develop understanding of these, we must gather the conditions that allow for comprehension of these. That power, that potential to comprehend shunyata and bodhicitta is one's store, one's accumulation of autonomy, of merit. In order to increase one's autonomy, we engage in preliminary practices, the preliminary practices that we do. We must identify what those practices are. In order to identify them, we first study them. Now, we have progressed through 5 of the 6 preliminary practices. The present moment is our exchange regarding the 6th preliminary practice, purifying your mind with the 7 branches of worship, which comprise the crucial points for accumulating the collections and purifying the mind of obscurations.
어디를 세단다 어디 소화되게 유명하다 등에도 차와 생기다 단단하도 단다게 시해를 또봐 상원도 깨세베 자주 상계다 자주 선바되고 또봐 되다라는 게 줄라 깨베 치돌라 아니 다 고도 랑 또봐들랑 퍼베 치돌라 아니 당고 질랍 쉬고래 질랍 쉬고라 소화다 버려 소화다나 아니 질랍 터고래 제가 되게 이리 당고 질랍 쉬게 된돌라 아니 뒤지 배장 냠내 용야가 된다라 아니 가서 선대 붙이기 다 대시에다 아니 냠내 난고 요래서
And the 6th preliminary practice is the very integration of the oral instruction of the lineage of gurus with one's own mind. It is for the purpose of developing realization. It is for the purpose of developing the very same realization as those realizations in the lineage gurus, so that one has the very same realizations. One makes the first petition to the venerable lineage gurus, requesting their blessings, and their blessings are bestowed. In order to receive these blessings, the verses of petition and supplication are recited. At the same time, the visualization of the descent of purificatory light and nectar is exercised again in practice.
야, 제가 되게 이리다 만하고 밖에 진짜 질럽자 전부 아니 밖에다 되게 냠랭게 네 전부 되다 아니 랑이 줄라 깨버 쳐발라 랑이 주민을 고고요래 주 랑이 주디베 하고 짱맞지 매나 질럽되게 돼서 사전 내버려 오래 질럽돼서 그 사제지 거와 데이터 오지는 랑이 주디 질럽돼서 사제르잖아 질럽돼서 사제디 아니 간다르 짱맞 매나 아니 질럽되게 대투고 말어 왔잖아 당고랑이 주민 벌지 유즈 다 벌지 아니 질럽마치 질럽들랑 톱에 치고로 왔어 제가 리시도라 아니 뒤집어장 손대 저한테 아니 뒤집어장 지기 어려서
Petition and supplication made to the lineage gurus that their blessings may descend and penetrate one's mind requires that one's mind be fully ripened and cleansed so that there is a place for those blessings to take purchase in the mind. If the mind is not purified, if the mind is yet unripened, then the blessings find no purchase. to cleanse and to ripen the mind, then as the supplication verses are recited, one is also visualizing this descent of purificatory light and nectar.
알아서 지도 나가니 잘라도 계신 뭐 자침으로 라와 이나 아니 어디 잘라도 샤사도 그 자직체 샤사도 그 템보스 아니 그 템보 샤사 야고 고도 와서 어디나 신가랑 좀 있다 남게 신지 지라고 똑바되게 랑게 줄래 깨버려 제발라야 랑게 규대 아니 왜 다고 짱마 가가 고고로 와 어디 지고 직발에 손지.
This is no different than when one gets something, some nice new object, a new belonging that they would place in their home. It's a valuable object, and so a presentable place is prepared for it, something stable, something clean, somewhere to present it. And in the same way, then, in order for blessings to find their place, the mind is cleansed and purified.
야, 제가 그때 이래서 다른 나중에 주기 나중에 생기 주디 나라 주스라는 생기 나라 니모고 바자기 강대요. 이 니모 바자 강대요 있나? 아니 남이 똑같게 깨서 사제요 말와. 제가 남이 똑같게 깨버려 제발라 하고 거기 매장하게 유다 유모다 레디게 아마 다 받쳐. 어디 답을 제약에 치돌라 아니 뒤지다 배장치 맞습니다. 맞장마서 투버지 다버지 아니 대가는 아니 다 질라고 똑같게 쇼그래요 손.
The continuum of the mind, by continuum, that which is in the mind is filled to the brim entirely with klesha and their latencies, mental afflictions, and the latent dormancies that they have caused, such that there is no place for blessings to take purchase in the mind. A place is then made ready for blessings to take purchase in the mind by expiating, by eliminating all the klesha and the karmas in the mind. This occurs through the descent and purification by light and nectar, cleansing the mind and making ready a place for the blessings to penetrate.
다 되게 질라마 파비하게 질라마 하는 레다 유모되게 막 다버 진얘기 아니 막 뒤지 파베디 아니 뒤지다 왜세니 기도는 막 파베레 이내 뒤지다 왜세니 부디 간을 주면 용사디 아니 땡땡이 난가로 이거 겸네 겸유되게 셋업 디젤을 뒤지다 왜세 트디랑 이걸 밥 어디든 용어를 해서
The blessings that penetrate the mind, penetrate a mind that has been purified of the karmas and klesha by light and nectar that has descended into the mind and through the mind and cleansed the mind, but from the refuge visualized in space before one, from this refuge in space before one, light and nectar descend.
다 다른 저 람림나는 시술 체바이나 다 뉴지데베세 파베게 겹이도 조서 소신 셋업샤래 다 속이 신래 뉴지데베세 트 뉴지데베세 마팝 랑게 생 돌마팝 아니 랑게 생 유용 파바체 아니 뒤에 탐지 깨버쳐야겠다 뉴지베상 쳐야겠다 삼로 땅나도 어디 레손
탐 쭉쭉 내가 가르친 거야 그때 아니 쓸마 밤에
마 밤에 아니 랑게 죽이다 예, 들어 거기 유모다. 레다 유모도 막다 생기 주기를 내 예바 탐지 다 같이 조다 조 생기 예바 다 같이 오래. 여기 예바 다 같이 열 이내에 조 말, 조 생기 되게 예바 다 같이 해야 해서
light and nectar they descend from the merit field that is visualized in space before one. From the merit field then radiate light and nectar. This light and nectar penetrates the mind. Penetrating the mind, karma and klesha are thoroughly cleansed from the mind. All faults, too, are removed from the mind. And principally, this is for the purification of the mind. There is purification of the body, too, but here, principally, it is the mind that is purified.
오야 제산다데 소신기 소가 신기게 세다바 딜레 다왜 세 트레발라 때네 아니 다 뒤지마 파발라 때네 랑기 주기 뉴모 타바다 왜세 파발라 때네 아니 레기 뒤바디게 타베 미가 쳐야지 가서 공부 시에 차이 봐서
Le, 그것이 아니 요몽 아니 지지.
뒤지기 되다 뉴모 되게 제 왜세기 레디게 다
Supplication is made to the merit field, and light and nectar radiate from the merit field. The penetration of light and nectar into the mind purifies the mind of karma and klesha. The nectar purifies the klesha, the mental afflictions. The light purifies the mind of its karmas.
뭐야 당한도 뒤지 밥자게 소신기 된 소소가 신나나다 수수 주유메디 아니 가장 권마지 제제주유 사모다주 냠내질랍주 철정원도지 자벨라마 철정원도지 자벨라메 유바 라마 댕아 어디 가장 도지 잡여러 왔으면 댕아 뜻이 잡여래 어디 라마 댕아래 뒤지 유바네 아니 대체고로 와 뒤지 배전 체고로 와서
Also die Zamatagyu eine die
제제주유 냠내질랍 유바
Laudene.
아니 철정원도지 유벨라마
Alas 아니 요제
아니 철정원도지 라마 라마 댕아
Who are those persons of the merit field? They are, as I have described in past weeks, they are the lineage gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds, the lineage gurus of the lineage of profound view, the lineage gurus of the blessed practice, the integration of the two, the lineage gurus that upon whom one has directly relied in this life, and the lineage gurus of those very lamas upon whom one has relied in this life. That is the lineage of those upon whom one has relied, as well as their gurus themselves. These are 5 groups of gurus. From the 5 groups of gurus in the merit field descend light and nectar.
오야 다 가정아도 걔네만 천정모도 유백이 라마 나네 까담 닝마 라마 되게 가정아도 공부 시에 잡아서 다 되는 드링아도 까담 사르마 라마 되게 장가시 겹 근데 뒤지 표정 미과지 치야 돼서
Last week, within those lamas upon whom, with the gurus of the lineage of those gurus upon whom we have directly relied, namely the old Kadamba adepts. These individuals we've described last week, and now we turn to the Neo Kadamba, the new Kadamba.
야, 다 니고 가담 되잖아. 제가 다 니고 가담 봤는데 다 간다 가담 살마 생이디 아니 가네려스다. 다 가담 닝마게 참네. 아니 가담 살마 생이디다. 제름 붙이네. 또 규백이 라마들다 가담 살마 생이 맹다요래서.
The new Kadamba adepts stem from Jetsongkapa and descendants.
오야, 제가 다 데라 가담 사마세네. 양고 맹 살바스 맹레고에 윤센저우디. 아니 간데스 레버스나다 이게 가담 닝마게 냠네 제단 되게 돼. 고조 규바 망고지가 규바 되게 강가 저 찍주디. 아니 디간라 냠랭게 르바데 테 사부타네 제시 큐바 인자 나고 맹들 가담 사마세 딩다버레서.
What is the reason there is a new Kadamba in the first place? Why the new title for this lineage? The old Kadamba themselves had branched many times. All these branching lineages are reintegrated and reconsidered their presentation renewed in the Neo-Kadampa.
Oh yeah, tamo kadamba ko kadamba minchi ba der karsna kadamba ningba gi nyamne de chadang manya ba chadang nyamne de gang la ya ani nyamne chedo pa ba kari yoresna ani da yege gi nya kadam ningba gi ani da 제시 나라 매바 kadam sama gi 제시 kari yoresna ani da kandardi 다 채찍 류지가 상계하게 아니 뉴바 개발체 아니 나 라메게 람지를 받이게디 아니 람지를 받아 자니 셰바 인자 아니 냠네 사바도 여바 아니 냠네 사베 천대당 아니 냠네게 내도 다 망아 창아 여베 견전라 때네 아니 민데 다바래 손
The Kadampa remains the same. It is a Kadampa lineage. All features of the old Kadampa are preserved in the Neo-Kadampa, the new Kadampa. But what exceptional addition is found in this Neo-Kadampa tradition? What originality contributes such that it is known as Neo-Kadampa? The notion of awakening in one lifetime through one body of the Mandrayana. This notion in the Mandrayana itself is integrated into that old Kadampa, giving it an exceptional profundity, making of it a teaching that touches on all of the profound points and is complete in this respect. And so it is known as the Neo-Kadampa.
Oh yeah, kazeta page nga ge lamje ribane shebe da ani gyulu da wesege lamje rimba gyulu wesege lamje nyamlen te ani lamri ge so jarne ani nyamsa langju yobati ani lo kadam ba ge chashe chene 제가 di indu ani 직당 저 람지 rimba nyamle chebala te kewa ta te de nyamle chemo go ba kewa thame da de nyamle chemo go ba ta kanze chechik lyuji la ya ani sanje ge daba chazang nyamso la ya yoba ge ani to stage jo ba inza ani khola niu ka tam ba asta ka tam sarmas me de ta re sonsi
derived from the Mandrayana, the practices of the illusory body and clear light are integrated into the stages of the path. This is the mark of the Neo-Kadampa, the integration of this Mandrayana illusory body and clear light in the presentation of the path, such that no longer are eons required for the achievement of Buddhahood, but in a lifetime with one body, through the integration of the oral instructions in the profound Mandrayana, one may achieve enlightenment. Hence the originality in the Neo-Kadampa.
Oh yeah, that 한당 저게 티샤베게 탕게게 나라 전쟁모도 라마디 수티어스나 제르무젠다 아니 세니도 스티젠디 라마 천전을 나자외 수주고 천정모도 라마 천전을 제어 당 알아서 냠슬레도 잠바 천정모도 비스디 랑기 최퇴사 라마디 디차베야 디야 고고래서
Now in the scroll paintings, the lineage of the gurus upon whom we have directly relied in this life are designated by a standard, Tsongkhapa and sons. They represent the lineage of the gurus upon whom one has relied in one's own very life. But for each of us in our own case, Tsongkhapa and sons would merely designate the place where we position the gurus upon whom we have actually relied in this life.
Oh yeah, that is it. That's 전쟁모도 라마디 다 가지에게 가담 닝만 가담 다 이게 당부 강라야 잡로를 양내 지내 주변에 예를 자신 주주 연라 상모 따주 다디 띵이 나가라 아니 천정모도 유배 라마스 이게 강한 거 디니 마찬에 랑기 총모스 토베 라마도 거 어두스를 받을 거 샤야로 와서 대단다 랑기 총모스 토베 라마디 네 고샤르다 디게 고샤르도 좀마다 다징아도 천정모도 다들 지잖아라 천정모도 빌라마디 단다 클라와나시 지야도 좀 고셔라다 단다 수주고 거디 야도 민집이 고 말해 수주고 쳐토베 라마도 고 아니 라마 되기네 고랑이 라마 되기 쳐도서 유배 라마 되기 등이 난갈 거샤야로 와서
The lineage of the gurus upon whom one has directly relied in their life, in the Kadampa tradition, following the arrangement of the merit field, in which in the behind position there is the lineage of the blessed practice, and to the right the lineage of extensive deeds, and to the left the lineage of profound view. In this arrangement, the lineage of gurus upon whom one has directly relied in this life are placed around one, and their gurus above one. This is the arrangement. So as it is drawn, Tsongkhapa and sons haven't got to appear among those gurus upon whom one has directly relied in this life. One rather instead places the guru whom in fact one has relied in this life there, and then above this guru the lineage of their gurus. This is then the arrangement of the merit field.
Oh yeah, tadi ko sa de kadam sanye ke lama prasa de taji jaji chuju lama ki lama taji ko lama chupsi lama chupsi yo kadam be lama shungbawa ko do group sun ko ti wa de la ani jerum je la tabola ani kadam same ke lama yuba ta de tije de ni ju ta ma yore tena shi yi ni ga la sa dan de ko he so.
In the lineage of vast deeds, comprised of 14 gurus, beneath the lineage gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds appear the Kadamba gurus. Remember the Kadampa, scripturalist Kadampa, oralist Kadampa, etc. Beneath these old Kadampa, the new Kadampa lineage of Tsongkhapa, flanked by 20 gurus of the Neo Kadampa.
What in a young one like so someone to you Jambayana, you will lama truchi, and don't say you look Kadam Yingma Lama Tayi Shumbawa, and in Mangaba Lamrim Sum Tichibako. You water like Jerem Water Lama Nishu. What did you need to go? That's what.
过几集院是吧？到底这种搞被第演员来呀？那么你是盯的嘛的？对嘛？热气吧，热么气吧？那。To the left in the arrangement of the merit field, the lineage gurus of the lineage of profound view. Beneath these gurus, the old Kadampa of the scripturalist Kadampa, oralist Kadampa, etc. Just the same as on the other side. Now on this side, on the left side, then underneath these old Kadampa, the Neo Kadampa again, Tsongkhapa included, flanked by the 20 gurus of the Neo Kadampa there.
랑레 때 랑기 듀기 동바디 가나 아니 춘제 모토 비자에 라마데 랑기 춘제 모토 비자에 라마데 고주체스.
So this is the same left and right, isn't it? And now before one, in the open space before one, then one's root guru in the lineage of the gurus upon whom one has directly relied.
뭐 다디가 라마데 라마데 사나야 고고 사다. 다고 차드 잠발라 땅아서 카르단데 알레 라마데 장가자고 지금 딱가도 사바가 라마니 슈디 뭐 장가자고 지금 말.
No.
뭐예 저저저 뭐.
No. Then we have neatly arranged these 5 groups of gurus, haven't we? And now it remains for us to count these 20 gurus of the Neo-Kadampa.
뭐예 아무다 매매제 지금 뭐 가지고 로산 잡으시는 소도 제름 세. 어디 가면 매매제
The verses begin with the one whose essence is both Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-apprehending compassion, and Manjushri, Lord of Immaculate Wisdom, crown ornament of the snowy lands, learned ones, Tsongkhapa, or Lozan Chakpa, I make supplication at your feet.
뭐야 다디올로 주변주 재배자소 식지.
Next is Jambel Gyatso.
뭐야 기루면 지금 기루 gel에 배상 거지.
Next, Kedrup Gelep Pelsan.
이주 담배 주제 봐서지.
Next, Baso Je.
봐서지 라마 숨라 네 소아뎁스 선데 지겨와.
Here are then 3 gurus of the Neo-Kadampa, and the verses of supplication to them are made to them.
다디오들은 순조군이 취지 도지 당시 거지.
Then follows Choki Dorje
아니 고송문주 저와 예사바지.
and Gyewa Insaba
아니 롱동하다 사이 23제 시제.
and Sangye Yeshe.
숨라야 손데 직숨 되지.
And then the verse of supplication to these 3 gurus.
다디네 디오들은 벤젤로산 취지. 로산 취지 제드즈베제스. 벤젤로산 취지제.
Lozen Chuzen.
취지 젠제.
This is followed by Konchok Gelsen.
군주 젠제 디오마들.
Ale.
취지 젠제 군주 젠제 로산 이시 숨제.
Lozon Chugi Gelsen. Zin Beje. Konchok Gelsen. Konchok Gelsen, right?
군주 젠제 니버들어.
Dambode?
로산 취지.
Lozon Chugi Ale. So first is Lozon Chu. Right?
로산 취지.
The first is Lozon Chugi Gelsen, followed by Konchok Gelsen,
로산 이시
followed by Lozon Yeshe.
숨제.
Here are the next 3,
그래서 아니 두세 배제 나와 잡아 찍지.
followed by Ngawang Jamba,
아니 데이터에 로산 예라시
followed by Lozang Nyenja,
자주 타고 연대 타에 봐. 연대 타에지.
followed by Gyanso Taye.
자주 타에도 자주 타에죠. 아니 진짜 남아서 손데 찍지.
Then verses of supplication to these 3.
야, 다들 죽숨 들었었어.
Oh,
다 로산 이시
Here's
템바라
been 13
비치.
now. Chupson.
로산 이시 템바라 비치 찍지.
Then comes Yeshi Tempa Rabye,
야, 디네 로도 사고 누구 남들세세.
followed by Lozang Namdro,
너는 그래. 디네 로산 제외 추주 지게 봤어.
followed by Lozang Jemba,
로산 지바로. 한 소매 남아서 찍지.
and verses of supplication to these 3, which comes to 16.
아니 계산 남들 시외 롱도 때 시루닐라 거도 고소 가지고 쏘아두세. 아마 찍으래.
Ramadan Sengar. Sen Bermendo.
그여다 계산 남들 시외 롱도 시루닐 거요.
Kosum Gumpi Chimboso.
계산
Kelzan Tinzin Kedrup.
된지기 들어.
Oh, this is followed by Kelzang Tinzin Kedrup.
야, 다디 와도 그때 근데 미치기로 손댔어요.
There is a quatrain of supplication to Kelzang Tinzin Kedrup,
주변에 되네.
which is 17 now.
다디네 망도 담바시베 미지 계산 주지 된지 기도셔서 된지 기도 치고야.
Tinzin Kedrup.
지금 계산 기도 지금 된지 기도 그니 빈자래.
Ale, Tinzin Kedrup, Kelzang Kedrup.
가마데
This is followed by Tinzin Kidrup. There's first a Kelzang Tinzin Kidrup, followed by Tinzin Kidrup, and they are related.
Oh yeah, that in the Kiruche, job Jesse. Take on to Zoom Channel, Malu, Los Angeles, Tijutubuko, Swatters, Jambel to Syria.
Jambel Hundrup, followed by Jambel Hundrup.
Oh yeah, done. Tijutubuko, Chabat to them to Jizolama, Swatters, Chabat in the Chilejasos.
Chinle Gasos, followed by Chinle Gaso. Pabonga, who is Pabonga Rumjera, who is Pabonga Rumje, Nishu. And this is 20 now. These then are the 20 gurus of the lineage of gurus upon whom one has directly relied.
Oh, yeah, the children want to give a lama that. Oh, the thing in that goes and thing in Nangalako, doing thing in Nangalako.
These then are the gurus of one's gurus, those gurus upon whom one has relied in this life. Their gurus counted 20 here.
Oh, yeah, that in a Ramja Surabola, Kessan Tabatu, Tablet says a Shinano. So what they have said about that children want to Lama Kazu in the Changa Mango in the Mango Chimo, the Menachi. And then the good.
Lozang Yawakungi Ishini. Chick do Chimeg, yeah.
The good just full I'm just full of Digan. The good is.
Anis Selzesinian, oh yeah,
Ramjam small of
Dikyurga.
Oh, the
Now, and the root guru then, verses of supplication of the root guru are these: to those who are the eyes with which we examine all the myriad scriptures, who are the point of entry for those fortunate ones traveling to liberation, and who illuminate us with skillful means, motivated by loving kindness, to all the spiritual teachers, I make supplication.
Oh, yeah, that's a Lama. This is a children want to Lama Kazu. Tangajem go to Yaboyo, Yansu Lama, the relaxation is Chini Gona to you, the Lama Chimon, Magona to you, Chuko, the Yakona to go, this is Kazuko, children want to Lama Kazu, and to get their good and delay to the and show response.
Isn't low. And here then, with this supplicatory verse, one visualizes their root guru or root gurus, however many there are, and however many one is able to visualize, whether it's one is sufficient. If there were 100, 100 would be excellent. However many there are, the root guru is visualized, their gurus visualized above them, and so this verse of supplication.
Oh, yeah, that Lama to get say, Tama Tanga, Tanga, those Yebuchuna, pay it, Pendochimbo, Lapsimbo, your response.
Now, if you were to get a handle on the count of these 20 gurus, then it's beneficial.
Oh, Mazungoma, the Lamrim, who should do something. And Lamas of Carson, Suzuki, Boguna, Amana, Pesha Kazuyo, Tanga Jamson, Labjo, you say. Lama Kazus, Tanga Jamson, Lama to the Yabu Maras, the song to Usman.
The Musitive Lama, right? Any Jenna, Tenduma. It's valuable to recognize and recall all of those gurus upon whom one has actually relied in this life. And it was said to us when we were learning the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment from our teachers, that all of you, the teacher would say, all of you know just how much money you have in your wallet, yet you wouldn't be able to count the gurus upon whom you have depended.
Oh, yes, the Lama Tangajem, and do Sibirjanche. Ani, the Chetona, and back Cabolet, do Sibirjanche to run the Lama, the Matemachi, Jeba Inaya, Rama Towa Majiba, and Luguma, where your response.
Then from these the Guru's light and nectar descend, purifying one's continuum. And when the practice is performed so, the benefits are tremendous. But there are many accounts of those who have practiced without adequate recollection of those gurus upon whom they have depended, and as a result, there are stories of realizations that failed to arise.
that's 미국 지도 전부터 라마타 유바 망고유도 유바르르르 셋업 디지벨장 제요래. 양 소신 강산 셋업 디지벨장 제요래 손.
There are techniques of visualizing the descent and purification by light and nectar, in which the descending light and nectar emerge from each of the various lineage and there is a technique wherein the light and nectar descends from the merit field altogether at once.
야, 수수 미국 세월도 매바시 곰 망부 장가들이 망부 보면은 곰시 매바 곰바 세월 매바 이나양 라마 소신 강가 또 라마 찍 수수고 춘정원도 라마도 찍을 주면 델라 두지 밥상 제바 이나양 난 두지 밥상 라마 탐질을 민 두지 밥상 제바도 표현 찍고 요래 손스.
Now, for those who haven't found clarity in the myriad visualization, who are not very familiar with all the numbers included in the merit field and their lineages, it is sufficient to visualize with devotion one's root guru upon whom one relies, and for contained within this root guru is the entirety of the merit field. So it is said then that to picture with devotion one's root guru and the descent of light and nectar, the very same benefits will emerge as from the entire merit field visualized.
야, 당한저 다다 디지벨장 미국 인유시고랬다. 다 가르치기면서 당부 알려가서 당부도 다이 어제 라마 꾸이도 뭐 당부도 이해도 거요. 이해들 가리요랬으나 이해들 자진 주주 그 라마 줍시 거요랬어. 다달라 자진 주주 그 라마 줍시디. 안에 당부 좀 잠바 저 참바데 맞아 봐봐 동면 로베 인이 도지 라마 저 좀데 봐봐도 좋지. 저 좀데 봐봐도 라마 줍시 얘들 거셔. 다디 라마 줍시 될라. 아니 야 소아테벌 때네 소아테비 규구네 라마디게 두 년이 아니 라마 두지법 두지도 세법 라마 밤네 아니 라마 두지마 밤니 그때 딜라란데 니바지 마총 이랑이 지고지 라마 팀 아니 라메 자지 주주고 라마 대다지 고순도 있는데 담배랑 줄라마 밥 밤니 아니 랑이 줄라 자진 자체에 람지를 봐 창주심 줄라 계약에 계획다 바제 탐지 바장 봐 계획다 바제 탐지 바장 아니 장 차월라 되네 랑이 줄라 튕진 아니 창주심 줄라 계획에 튕진 세다 소남 아니 다 벤조 가르고 있는 되게 담아놔서 또 톱송 삼바세네 랑이 줄라 또 창주심 줄라 계획에 튕진 차상 통는 창주심 줄라 빼다 창주심 넘버 타바지 줄라 계속 삼 어떤데 미국 쳐야지 자지 주주고 넘는 민인데 미국 쳐야지 어디 가면지 공부해 손하지
아니 랑자 니버디 가투 수수 아니 치월라 아니 밥
소아드 소아드에 괜찮네 아마도 비디오에서 랑데 니버지 랑마 양데 니버지 주
그래서 아니 랑자 니버다 아니 르단 디티 냠도
마도 바마 랑데 니버지 주
라
아니 랑데 니버지 랑데 니버들라 비디오에서 콜바팀
라
아니 디랑마 팀도 아니 고순도 얘들 랑마 밥사서 아니 셈도 밥사서 어디지 아니 딜라 바발라 때네 아니 랑 규기 다 창조심 줄게야 다 바뀌게 발전해서 누르는 모두기 좋아.
Now, when we meditate for a bit on the descent and purification by light and nectar, the process is this. First, the merit field is visualized in the arrangement. To the right is the lineage of extensive deeds. This is the lineage beginning with Maitreya, passing through Asanga, Atisha, down to Dromtompa, including 14 gurus. Verses of petition and supplication are made to these lineage gurus of extensive deeds. They are pleased, delighted by the supplication made to them. By the force of this, the replica of one's guru moves from the merit field to the crown of one's head. Light and nectar descend from the merit field into the replica of one's root guru situated atop one's crown. And from the root guru atop one's crown descend the blessings of body, speech, and mind, flowing in light and nectar from the merit field, with the descent of light and nectar from the replica of the root guru at one's crown. All interference, all obstacles to the development of the mind of awakening are cleansed from the mind, thoroughly eliminated from the mind. When these are eliminated and removed, then the mind of awakening, the conditions for the mind of awakening are accrued. They accumulate in the mind, whatever they are, whatever is required for the development of the mind of awakening, whether it is extended longevity, life force, wealth, whatever conditions need to be met for the development of the mind of awakening, all of these conditions are come to had through the descent of light and nectar. One conceives of oneself as having become endowed with all these conditions, and the mind of awakening is then conceived to have arisen in thorough purity in one's mind.
예, 막 이거 답에 미고 지도 란진지 아니 왕기 사베게 나 이모다 이 왕기 사베 다 디바스 카리틀레도 이모 카리도 되게 참나 다송 삼바 치고래서
All of the mental afflictions, all of the karmas caused as a result of our pathological self-love are thoroughly expiated, thoroughly cleansed from the mind.
야, 내가 뭐 봤을 때 오지가 오늘 롱도 야마 야 뭐지 교도야 장마지 아니 롱도 데스 오야래 아니 도스카네 검토나 셈마이야 개버치 뭐 여래서
Now take a comfortable position, one that is conducive to the flow of wind energy, and then inhale. Having inhaled, retain the breath. When the breath is retained this way, the mind is not agitated.
롱라 롱라 도랑게 건 도랑게 당지체니 아니 셈나 당지치 투가 채워대 냠냥 차그래서
Inability to control the wind energy is inability to control the mind. It is a technique for exercise.
야. 신이 두두 잡아먹는데 신이 두두 당골롱을 장 롱래야 뭐지 영화처럼 아니 쌤 까도 그래 쌤 다부잡도 그래서
In the practice of shamatha, serenity meditation, one exercises one's control of their wind energies. With control of the wind energies, then one controls the mind.
예, 당하죠. 가만 우고 내직 우 두야 테니 마말로 버르들라 아 가만 직대 두고는 다 가서 대두는 대가네 아니 메버 세부제 라마디게 세데 브라미 아니 소아타 비유 sometimes 주지 베네 아니 랑게 주다 셈기 니교 탐제다 루기 내 나사 가리 타와 치기네 미과 치기네 디그레 소스
And now, in the minute or so between the inhalation, during the time when that breath is held, in that time, one petitions the merit field, the light and nectar descend from the merit field into the mind, penetrating the mind, purifying the mind of karmas, kleshas, any pains, any obstacles. This is the meditation during the minute of retaining the breath.
야, 당은 고속에 다 소소소 관리 되고 되는 관리 되어도 어떻게 주로 계속
So now I'm going to begin and adopt a position that's comfortable for you, and then here we go.
야, 한 고속인도
Here I go. 1,
뭐야, 나가서 대리 뒤나 신신다. 대진 주주나시. 근데 사모다 유념에 질러 전제 용도 규배라마레레레라시니. 근데 뒤집어서 강갈 치고래 손으시.
So then to the lineage to the right, to the left, the one behind, the integration of blessed practice, each by each is pictured, and the descent and purification by light and nectar.
예, 제단다 뒤집어서 밖에 수수 라마 수수라면 뒤집어서 치료자만 또 치료자만 당부 예원도 되라 제도 장주 심 줄을 집에 또 버텨지 예원도 되라 잠배양 된 치료자만 아니 돈이 또 베셔라고 또 버텨라 집에 니 버텨 아니 냠내 질러 줄을 전에 뒤집어서 다시 냠지게 장주 심 줄을 집에 니 버텨 아니 초령모도 라마 줄을 전에 좀 아니 랑게 나 또 버텨 계속 집에 어디에 집에 버텨고래 손으로
When each lineage with each set of gurus is visualized and light and nectar descends from each, one conceives of oneself realizing that which is realized in each lineage. That is, the rightmost lineage of extensive deeds is the lineage of the realization of bodhicitta. To the left, the lineage of Manjushri is the lineage of the wisdom realizing emptiness. One conceives of oneself as having developed realization in accord with these. And then in the lineage of blessed practice, characterized by the realization of the practice of exchanging and equalizing self and other. These realizations too, one conceives of as having arisen in oneself. And then that lineage of gurus upon whom one has directly relied, their realizations of the secret mantrayana are also conceived of as having arisen in one's own mind.
예, 방금 그림 지다 주셔서 대샤 아니야. 세부 매고 있나? this alternative 아니야. 가서도 여성.
Now, time is up. And now, if there's anything that's unclear to you, you can use our Q&A time to address it. That's my hope. Now, let's hear it if you've got a doubt. Likely then, light and nectar has already entirely cleansed your continua. Now, it's an extraordinary wisdom, the one that does result from light and nectar that purifies the mind, as that light and nectar purifies the mind of that which is cause for pain, that is the result, that cause being karma and klesha. The wisdom that purifies the mind of these and the pain that results from them is truly extraordinary.
네 첨부 요래서.
In short, then, in practice, when we come up against an inability to realize our practice, that stems from karma and klesha. The karma and klesha prevent the realization of our practice. When we practice, our practice doesn't hit the mark, it is because of the karma and the klesha. But with the elimination of karma and klesha, realization simply springs up. And it is so, it happens this way because a place has been made where the blessings can gain foothold in our mind. But without the elimination of karma and klesha, there is no toehold for the blessings. But when the blessings do find purchase, then realization swiftly arises. So it is how critical the practice of visualizing descent and purification.
맞아. 다들 이게 가담 사례바다 님과 스케일시해야 돼. 단다 도도됐다. 라면 나디 아니 랑이 빼. 조기 질러부터도 조슈 아니 디바냠내체 아니 딜레든 동바께와. 인자 가담스도 라면가 또 냠슬랑버 체백이 실내샤는 냠슬랑이 요바이나 콜 가담바스. 명대들 슬레비 요래서.
The reason the Kadamba are known as the Kadamba, the old Kadamba and the new Kadamba, is their oral instruction, the oral instructions of the adepts of the Kadamba lineage. The practice is of requesting blessings from these adepts so that the blessings are bestowed by the adepts and penetrate our minds. With the penetration into our mind of those blessings, then realization arises. The Kadampa practice is the very practice of instantiating the word of the Guru. And so we know of this lineage, called this lineage, the Kadampa lineage.
상부 나루바다 벤디다로와 벤디다지상 날렌다가 벤디다 치쇼 그다 침보래. 나 권한 게 있다. 배제다 벤디다 인도도 배제겠다 개바 침보래. 권한 게다 아 배제 심바선이 되기면도 셈 유구도 셈 뒤에 담바지 고도 삼는 권한 게 되냐면 제지도 셈 뒤에 담바 제가 배워 안다가 제가 produce 봐네. 냐면 제 고도도 잡아네 권한하다. 셈 뒤에 담바 네 마주 배제 차가라. 나도 담바 권한 게 배제도 시도 아니 칸도 마지기 되는 아마 경고시 안소이는 미드 통도 좀 밖에 경고를 이렇게 메주를 되듯이 제버라 아니 아마디 코나 배제 로드도 좀 아마디 그 배제 가르로고 예스 깨지지 말
아니 아마기 아니 컨트롤 아니 컨트롤이 아니 나로발라키 티브라
그냥 가르로고 예스 나 셈드에 당아지게 이 로고 예스 나도 좀 아마디 안 좋지고 거기다 한 주디 배제도 전다 신기 예외시. 전다 신기에서 그 전다 신기 예외서 나로 봐. 나도 아마 개무셔샤. 나는 주 식신기 예외다. 식신기 예외시. 식신기 예외 신기 예외는 거야. 미주다샤. 제가 대대 거제라는 계란기 얘기 대신기에서도 개무셔. 식신기에서 뭐가 가린 베스 아마도 파티 그냥 치기도 신기도 된 신기도 와서다. 아니 이게 된 신기면 된 신이 수요라서 그냥 파괴지 돼. 그래서 아니 얘기 매보여라서 얘기 매보스도 얘기 매모시 뭐 어디 요래라로 와.
얘기 뭐시버지게.
얘기 매보스도 얘기 단단 매보스도 얘기할래 매보스야.
매보 소소기 매보.
매보 요래서.
매보 남나는 얘기 파기 막유기 강사 아니 당보대.
매보 요래라. 매보 거의 요랬어. 거기 매보디 데로바 요랬어. 그 롱데 뭐라 한도. 어디데 거기 요랬어. 나랑도 빼제 심바 있나 양 또 올라가 깨베 쳐버도 말아. 어디든가 어디든 쉬이해서.
No, Naropa, the great pundit of the monastic university, was a great pundit. As a great pundit, then he was a great scholar. But Naropa, though a great scholar, concluded himself that mere scholarly understanding was insufficient and that he must practice. But in order to practice effectively, he must find a pith oral instruction. And so he went out in search of that pith oral instruction. He came upon a Mother Tantra. He began to turn the pages of the Mother Tantra, and as he was, he Magyuchik Jalbarwa. Naropiki Magyuchik Jalbarwa. As he was turning the pages, leafing this Mother Tantra, an old, decrepit Dakini came by, just a frail thing. And she asked Naropa, what are you reading? And he said, I'm searching for the pith, the oral instruction. And she asked, do you understand what you're reading? And Naropa replied, yes, I do. I understand it. And she laughed. and then she asked, do you understand the words you're reading? And he said, yes, I do. I understand the words I'm reading. And then she wept. And Naropa asked, why did you first laugh at me and then cry when I told you that I understood the meaning and I understand the words? And she said, you merely understand the words. You do not comprehend their meaning. And then Naropa asked, who is it that does know their meaning? And the Dakini said, I have an ancestor. I have an acquaintance. I know an ancestor who does. It is Tilopa. Now, I tell this story because we have some understanding of the text, but there's more that is necessary. So I tell the story of Naropa.
Oh, Chizan, then Korana, Teluba Zega, Pechina, Teluba Zega.
So he went searching for Tilopa in the forest.
Oh, Chizan, that the part of Chenmo was it. And that Maranzo talk about you like guessing it, talk about you like she left to gore, down the sonum, Demba gore. Oh, Kandar Rangi, sick pocket, law Shembata. Okay, she Shembagi, talk about you like Jiggy Mare. Talk about you like Jevala. Then to zip Janda and Berangata, Yam said the temperature manner, talk about you like Jess and the young Maresons.
I won't go into the story now, but we must develop realization in our minds actually. In order to do so, we must have autonomy actually. Mere readerly understanding of a text, a mere ability to describe the meaning of a text is insufficient. That won't lead to realization. We must petition and supplicate for blessings, and with a descent and purification by light and nectar, then we may develop realization.
Oh, yeah, that.
Now, if there are no questions, then we'll recite the closing verse.
Yeah, that's what we need to that. Okay. So it's 2 questions.
There's one that came with the question.
Yeah. No.
So given the importance of calling upon the lineage for the blessings, is there a memory device or mantra that can help us to recall them?
Giba rege giba lama denzo la so tap go ani kogyotsang ani de giba lama chatsang sangma ani jinso tang yagi nupa dang dempe menga nga chik dendre yorode.
The George Koran Chana Lamati means a Mesha, the Koran that Chavanji Mesha, George Kesanti, yes, the Koran, Sunday with six Chavanji Ma, George Koran, Beja Chavanji, your
the ornament to the throat of the fortunate contains the names of these lineage gurus. It's there in textual form. This very text then names each of these lineage holders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Lama 소신 그 조도 랑게 저 라마의 소신 조르면 딜레 디디 산점의 군도 용어라면 디디 배전 지나양 강가 라마가 소신 강가로 디디 배전 지에 거의 추구가 됐어. 이해하고.
One's root guru visualized as the collection of all perfect refuges, then is the source of the blessing that one's root guru alone may be source of the blessings of all the perfect refuges too, may be understood.
Oh yeah, then 뭐 이제 로데 그죠 남산.
Ale kunjo lamsa.
I have two questions. One is, what I'm really only capable of working with the visualization of the root guru. Would I work with the set of blood and nectar coming from the guru, or descending down into the crown of my head, or if Geshe-la has any suggestions about I guess spatially, and then if you would speak a little bit more about autonomy, that is autonomy from worldly concerns, or just to share a little bit more about how to consider that.
That's the ngani nubeki tse kare yolabna. Ani kemne kundugi ngor so tsawe lama ani chikpu ani möba chene ani gomgyap yu ani sokshin ke gangsa dramanda dende gangsa chik yana ande ani namba mandrawa dende ani gom gyap tu bindu jezan dende yemba yana the sosugi tsawe lama de ne ani rangja nipa ti ani chiworla yang ani bab ko grebe de ne ani ti rangja nipa ne ani jenap de bab yong ko grebe yangmena de ko dang dang ani remba ani meba chebe remba de yang kanishi ko gre kesi ani tsawe lama chipu ko shana 책도 아니고.
단다 소신 또 이거 소신이 말한다 이바 라마제 랑 마트엔세디 아주 냠네 치탄 찍으레스 꼭 갈선 가서 이게 바보 이 시스템 봐이 마용사게 랑가조데 담직셈바디 마늘 한게 셈데 마틴도 한게 셈디 땡이 셈바 숨지게 냠네 치디 이 공부 열에세 그래서
Rani rangi sende ani tinga zingi samba tene ani damsik samba di ranja nipa tene ani ra tene yeshi samba yeshi samba di soshin
그래서 마 팀바지는 다 강가 샘바 숨가서 지금 되는 냠내 지하체 그래서 제제 야 단다 가지고 계랑 삼당나디 수수그 라마코랑 카두 질랍슈디 이 미고데 이거 되게 열었어 지부터 가서 지금 수수연 라마 지부는 막 찍고 찍들 카두 베드제 랑게 바고 쇼와소다 랑라메 지도 못스 나오는 거 같네 되게 열었어
tene chiworla babbo
먹었을 때 되게 열었어
the visualization of the merit field, the replication of the root guru who descends and situates themselves atop the crown, and that process is one process. It's the process that involves the wisdom beings that are the merit field, the commitment being that is the replica of the root guru, and the samadhi being that is one's own mind in a triple stacked sattva. But another technique exists as well, in which one makes the request for blessings directly to one's root guru, and then there's no need for an intermediary replica of the root guru at one's crown. Blessings are conferred directly from the guru to oneself.
거의 다 간다를 밖에 단당도 소신 공배 차지 붙이는 뜻이야디 또 땡이 지금 미과자래 땡이 지금 미과자 아니 땡이 지금 왜쭉야 또 누버 첨부 이렇게 깨트야게 튕징 차라 미과들의 제시기 열에서
The elaborate visualization of the merit field is an exercise in developing samadhi. It is an exercise to develop an increased aptitude in samadhi. That is its purpose. Gijilati ani di rangja nipa di mebache magawache ra magawache de ani susugi ani de sawe lama la ani sharkya ani soatabne ani jinla babsu di ani raksam chiksumba penati kongi ani kotsu da ani remshindu babsu di kanishi res ani
so pena 나루바 줄라 똑같게 안돼 일로 나루바 타마타마타 냠내신 똑같 되기로와 아니 저자면 딱 그런 게 그냥 일로 가 수신 주면 타마타마 계란아 가리고 계란 가리고 나에 제수는 나에 제일 용 계란 가리고 예스 가리 먹이 예스 게 되어와 일로 나루바 나한테 샘드에 담바나로 나셔와 네 담바나게 계란 알면 제 표시라 민지 표시스 많이 민지 표가 두드 잠바 그런 민지 표가 잘라 기부 여마로 그거 남아 거마표 쇼로지 민지 표에 제는 예수네 염소 기부 용의라 그다음에 민지 표 제고 말해서 제가 마치 남바지 진이야 기쇼라 봐 사게 되는 로버스 남바지 기쇼서 그때 잠바 그런 추마라더니 추라면서 제가 짐바데 마사지니야 기쇼서 아니 야제 라마를 표를 밑에 주디야 표로와 라면 담바도 그런 돈을 받 주샤 주주 그런 담바 자산하다 내가 돌아와 어제산 그 라면 수주 없으면 매바이나 다 담아 간디 수주 되게 열어서 또
대박 깨버려 또 근데 너로 기규라
또 버텨로 지금 맞아요 요새 또 뭐또 버텨로
어제르디 살성
어제
잘 Naropa relied upon Tilopa, followed Tilopa's instructions, until Tilopa asked him, "What is it you wish for? What are you after as you rely upon me, depending upon me?" Naropa replied to Tilopa, "A pacified mind." Tilopa said, then make a mandala world offering to me then. And at that time, Naropa didn't have any materials for a mandala world offering. So he said to Tilopa, allow me time to find materials to make a mandala world offering to you. Tilopa said, you haven't got to go far to find those materials. Just moisten some earth and shape a world mandala for the offering. Naropa tried this, but the dirt didn't cohere. There was no moisture. So he said, I need to find some water to make the soil cohere into a world mandala offering. Tilopa said, you haven't got to go anywhere for that. Simply urinate. You'll have the moisture to make the earth cohere and make a mandala world offering. Naropa did this. He made the mud into a mandala world offering and offered it to Tilopa, and Tilopa promptly smeared it in his face. Smearing it in his face, Naropa developed full realization. You may make any sort of offering and request and inherit any realization. There was no intermediary situated atop the crown in Naropa's case, yet he developed realization immediately. Mainly for blessings to penetrate the mind, there must be faith. Where there is faith, then the whole of blessings will be received.
근데 나도 다 들은 배야.
아니 수르니바디
이거 같아.
수르니바디라 다디 소남 맘보안데 송도 소남 사고라 아니 소남 디치단 아니 소남당 랑왕 랑왕라고라 아니 가레레 랑왕 토고그라 아니 직진 척예레 랑왕 토고그레
그래서 이거는 아마 더
말이 레람나 네 건다 네네 대안에 직진 척예 네 소소 랑왕디 토고라 어쨌든 랑왕 세난다 아니 소남 세난다 아니 간 치다니 가리담말 가리
알아 수수고 되바 쌤 되바 여바디 누구도나 수랑 쌤은 되바 여바디 누구도나 소남래 랑 쌤은 되바 여바디 누구면은 소남 많이 받아
아니
뭐 소남 많이 받아 상담 혹시 송샤
to draw the line between autonomy and absence of autonomy is to draw the line between an ability to achieve what one desires and an inability to achieve what one desires. Where one is able to achieve what one desires, one has autonomy. Where one is incapable of it, one hasn't got autonomy.
고대오지 라베는 미지기 사이시 주구지가나 세금지를 사이 개빈 돌을 사이지 키로로 미지기 니만이가 수부모나 지지 깔래 잡나야 돌라 자탐바 말아야 니지디 콜로 소는 거 유명하게 제발 손을 들어와라 와서
For instance, one person is perfectly capable of signing a check and making $1 million. And another person sweats all day long and can't make a fraction of that. There's a difference here in the autonomy of the two.
근데 이제 뭐 소놈 생애디 유나 대화 맞을 거야 대화데 칸에 연구였으면 소놈의 연구 소놈 생애다 맞을 개화체가 루이고네 개화체고 아지고네 개화체고 루이고네 개화체고 대주 돈을 연구로 왔어
Didn't the son of Sagirwa?
그거다 루이고네 개화사 루가 예수고나 소놈 산이 루가 예수고 싸고 어디서 루가 예수고 루이고네 개화사 소놈 사요 아지고네 개화사 소놈 사요 아니 이지고네 소놈 사요로 어디 소놈 사이들의 레송
The autonomy is to achieve what we wish. That autonomy is accumulated through virtuous activities of body, speech, and mind. Active, physically, verbally, mentally, one may accumulate virtues that accumulate for one that autonomy by which one is able to achieve what they wish for. That accumulation occurs through activities of body, speech, and mind.
공부를 가르쳐 여자 세상 때문에 대결내는 교화이 여자 세상 때문에 대결내는 교화 여자다 세상 때문에 매번 온게 내가 가르쳐야 되는 게 교화스 근데 뭔지나 여래서
The illustrious Nagarjuna said, from dispassion, non-aversion, non-ignorance, all activities that are dispassionate, have no aversion in them, are not ignorant. These are virtuous actions. This is virtue, to be dispassionate, to have no aversion, and to be non-ignorant. All activities done so are virtuous.
여자 세상 때문에 매번 공부하잖아요 교화를 알아서네 교화를 니년의 교화를 emotion의 교화를
So it is then, if one is dispassionate, has no aversion, is non-ignorant, then whatever one does, whether one is merely walking or eating or sleeping, or even laughing, these are all moments of accumulating virtue.
됐다. 교화생들 직설한 게 지시한 바다라는 대바유나 아니 내가 나 교화 차를 해서 저 제일 손놈 제 싸고서도 인지미지 조선 첨부당 깔래 먹었더니 자고 말아. 근데 수수기 쌤도 토네. 여자신은 팀을 토네. 알아 기부지 얘네 겨울 도그래서
One hasn't got to expend tremendous energy or resources to be engaged continuously in virtue, or it is mental, it is dispassion, it is non-aversion, it is non-ignorance, and any activity undertaken in such a state.
준주나라 창조성의 다시니 애니들 보여줘서 창조성의 랑이 그 개발이나 아니 랑이 레 컨디션 락바지 유네 개와 강바지 유네 개와 믹스다나 개와 된데 시에요래서
Astride the steed of bodhicitta, any action and every action is a virtue, whether one is waving one's hand, giving another a glance, any action astride the steed of bodhicitta is a virtue. Now, the time is past now, and we'll recite our closing prayers.
뭐야 당은 그 집에 장게 최니시 제발라 때문에 아니 대사be 개와 되기 아니 랑게 미개와 초탐제 타로 개외 초탐제 코는 본도 펴와 일라 때문에 랑게 때 내가부터 미대와 루미대와 셈미대와 좀 봐시니 랑게 삼대신도 두고 시도 이 선거는하고 제가 세송
The force of the accumulated virtue of having attended to the Dharma in instruction and in listening, may it contribute to the alleviation of physical and mental pain and the basis for our achieving our every wish. To this end, we dedicate our closing prayer.
린도 벨레 소제제 카다르 양바 간시 사바데 로메 마레 기존 로바데 남제 야웨 엄버다 기레제 델마 스베 제라 군데양 잔베 양지 제웨 제소 템베 림바 투잔 람제조 네네 부베 게나 니제조 랑게 시신 도베 람제네 슈자 제웨 장웨 탑게게 로웨 예제 므바 세제네 갸웨 템바 유레 제게제 템바 렌진 초제 마자마 야야 냠바 유베 초데네 이제 쳔부 이르바 제와이제 엔데 대제 서와르 제와이쇼 세제 갸웨 메존 첼레 베주 찬주 남제 림베야 파드 남제 예다 베데제 야웨 제바 림데 경주레제 당선 드베 튜젠 부제제 이게게 세제 메라네 세라 군도 야웨 마바 이 람다 저와 마기레제 간세 티바 졸라 추주주 의제 졸라 투바데이세 도된 단계 다들 그제지 다시 양거 죽은 자주를 지
From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, we're working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life, Manjushri. May I find the best of the paths of the complete teaching, and may I please all the Buddhas by practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's seeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never departed in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddha. When someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, May he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dagi Jinye Tabe Gewampi Tendam Roa Kuma Gantendam Chebar Chitsun Losam Trava Yi Tembe Nimbo Rindu Seje Sho Rade Rave Kove Chinga De Pena Dewa Malu Chumbe Tere Sewa Tizi Jaslo Yi Shave Side Bande Deji Chedar Chemba Kudu Sambu Deji Eda Kunji Jeka Dalo Ji Kenwa Teda Tamje Grado Tusu Shebe Jawa Tamje Ngowa Jala Chodu Matwa Lagi Jeve Tawa Digu Sambu Jeje Radu Ju Sencho Rembo Je Maje Bano Je Girechi Kewa Nyamba Meba Yang One Wonder Pewara Show.
I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lozan Drapa to shine forever. In a land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Shinran Tenzing Gyatso, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantha Bhadra do, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with a dedication praised as the best, by the victorious Satkan ones the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Thank you. You are so kind.
Yeah,